What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another Bros Talking Soccer podcast. My name is Dave Knittel. I'm here with my brother Christian and our friend Will today to talk about day 11 of the World Cup. Today is Sunday, June 24th. Will, how you doing today?
I'm great, Dave. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Tottenham Hotspur World and your blog?
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. So I started my blog, I guess about 3 or 4 months ago. Basically, I'm covering Tottenham Hotspur, and I try to write articles on team news, match previews, predictions, transfer rumors. I even try to spotlight some of the young players up and coming through the ranks. And then one of the things I'm doing that in conjunction with Soccer Tavern is a footballing terminology where I use some of the videos from the Soccer Tavern and try to relate that to the terminology, how it relates to, Tottenham Hotspur and things of that nature. And that's basically what I do with that. And you guys can find me on Twitter at World Hotspur, or if you just go to TottenhamHotspurWorld.com, you can also find the blog and the site there as well.
Absolutely. And we have that linked in the video description if you're watching on YouTube, and then we will link to it in the podcast show notes. Even if you're not a Spurs fan, Will has some other interesting articles. So you definitely go check him out no matter what. Christian, how you doing today?
I'm just great, Dave. I'm so glad you asked me. Thank you.
Good. You seem super high energy today, which I always appreciate.
I kind of fell asleep a couple times.
Yeah, some of the matches weren't quite up to par, but hey, let's get to them. All right. So what we're going to do, if you're watching on YouTube, hello, thank you very much for watching live. So feel free to interact with us as we go using the chat feature. If you have anything you want us to cover while we're talking, or if you have any responses to anything we're talking about, we'd love that. If you're listening to the podcast in the future, thank you for listening, but we also record this thing live on YouTube. So feel free to come and join us as we record that as Christian mutes his mic because we got dogs involved in the podcast. But that's all right. All right, let's talk about first match of the day, England versus Panama. It finished 6-1 to England. Will, what'd you make of the match?
It was quite a match. I really thought England, I had it predicted as a 2-0 scoreline, but I thought they played really well. To me, I was kind of shocked that Rashford didn't get the start because I thought Lingard and Sterling in the first game, they were very good with their movement and everything, but they didn't finish very well. So to me, that was kind of shocking. Kane had a great game, 2 penalties, the goal that deflected off his heel. And John Stones with a brace. I mean, who would have thought we'd be talking about John Stones scoring 2 goals in that match? I mean, unbelievable.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, and they just exploded offensively. So, Christian, what were your thoughts on the match?
Somebody just rang the doorbell.
Okay. All right. Rein it in. Be professional. Do you need to go get that?
I feel like I have to.
Okay.
Right?
All right. Here. So I'll give my thoughts. All right. Christian's going to step away for a minute. These are the joys of podcasting. Sometimes, you just got to roll with it. So my thoughts on the match, I thought that England came out just right. And that's what you want to see from a side that's stronger. I know in the Belgium-Panama game, Belgium took a while to sort of figure out Panama, and England didn't really give them that opportunity. Quick question for you, Will. Was Dele Alli hurt? Is that why he was withdrawn from the lineup?
Yeah, he had a thigh injury in the first game is what they said. I think they held him out for precautionary reasons because he just started training again, I want to say yesterday or the day before. So I don't think there's any way he was going to feature.
Okay, so that wasn't like a tactical switch from Loftus-Cheek. I personally like Loftus-Cheek. I think he's got, he's just big. He's got pace. He drives at people. He's very aggressive, and I liked him in there. I could have seen Rashford coming in as well, but I was happy to see Loftus-Cheek in there. England's first goal came in the 8th minute on a corner. England ran a really interesting set piece where Stones wrapped his man around Ashley Young, and Ashley Young kind of acted as a pick and took Murillo, who was the Panama player, marking him off of Stones. So Stones had a wide open header from right around the penalty spot. And the other thing was Panama did not have any men on the post, like I've been hammering on YouTube and complain about all the time. So I know for me, you got to have men on the post there. But Christian, I think you're back. Hopefully the doorbell situation has been resolved. What was your take on the match?
I think that I expected something like this to happen. I really don't rate Panama highly. They're just, wow. I didn't expect it to be this bad, but I expected an utter domination by England. Yeah, I just, like, there's very little else to say because Panama were just that bad. They really were.
Okay. What'd you make of the 8th minute goal? Men on the posts, grabbing and holding from Panama. I mean,
yeah, there were no men on the post, Dave. I think that you're correct there. I know you love to see that. You're just like, yeah, no, the goalie's always got it, right?
I don't understand. Like, for me, I'm going to get on, I don't know, my soapbox or whatnot. I don't understand why on a corner kick, there's no way you can always guarantee winning the header. At some point, whether it's luck or whether it's just runners, the offensive team is going to win a header in the box on a corner. So why not take somewhat of the risk out and put some men on the post? There's no risk of offside. So for me, I just think it's silly not to have men on the post. I don't know. Will, what's your take on the men in posts on corners debate?
Well, I think you definitely have to have them. What was shocking to me about Panama is the only way they're going to win a match like this is they have to be really sharp on the set pieces and on some kind of a counterattack. And so when you're sloppy on those set pieces like that, I mean, you're not giving England goals, but you're making it easier for them. So for me, I was shocked that they, just were so disorganized in that regard.
That's a great point. Yeah, I mean, Panama's only chance is to be organized defensively, not give up easy goals, and then hope for a counter. And they just didn't have that. 20th minute, England's second goal came. That was the first Harry Kane penalty. So I think Hendo played the ball in. It may have been Trippier. I can't remember who hit the cross in. Lingard takes a nice touch on a run, and Torres and Escobar come through the back of him. Christian, any doubt of a penalty for you, or is it 100% penalty?
When I saw it in live time, I had a little bit of doubts, but when I saw the replays, it's pretty clear that they took his legs out.
Will, any doubts there, or for you, penalty?
Oh, no doubt in my mind. Just absolutely sloppy defending from them.
Okay, cool. So then 36th minute, third goal came in. Again, great play by Lingard and Sterling. That was the interchange with Lingard playing it in, continuing his run, and Panama not putting any pressure on Sterling. He was able to turn with the ball at the top of the box, hold on to it for a second, sort of delay and suck the Panama defenders in, and then lay it off to Lingard, who just curled it upper 90. Absolutely fantastic goal. I just thought it was interesting. Panama is not up on him, pressuring him, and just allowed him, him being Sterling in this situation, to just turn and easily lay that off. So I thought, Panama just was not strong throughout the match. Will, anything else you want to add here? You want me to keep rolling here?
I think it was nice to see Lingard finish that one because the first game he had a lot of chances to finish and just didn't put any away. So it was nice to see him reward the manager for leaving him in, giving him the start in this match.
Christian?
I would love to see Vardy start up there with Kane. I think Sterling we've seen enough of him at this moment. I think he doesn't provide very much to that attack. He just doesn't create the chances that he doesn't strike the ball well. I don't understand. I know Vardy isn't really like an impact player in terms of maintaining possession and creating chance after chance, but he's somebody who's going to take those chances, and I think he would play really well with Kane.
But isn't Kane – so Kane's – I don't want to say selfish because, I mean, he's a striker, and so he likes taking those shots. And so having someone like Sterling who isn't quite as quick to just take shots. And so on this play, I mean, he held the ball up and he laid it off and he created this goal for Lingard. Isn't it a little harsh on Sterling to say he hasn't been creating?
No, because if you watch every other play that he's involved in, it just isn't good. I don't understand. I don't think he's playing at a high enough quality right now that he should be up front specifically. I think he could be playing in those wide positions, but I don't understand why he's playing centrally. And other than that, my last point is I feel like it was really harsh on the Panama goalkeeper. I don't think he made any mistakes today. He just got crushed.
Yeah, Panama did not really support him. Will, any thoughts on Sterling playing up top?
If he could finish, there's no telling how many goals he would have scored this season in all competitions. So, I mean, to me, I don't know if he could finish. You could leave him up there. I mean, I thought he would have gotten dropped for the match prior, for his performance in the prior match. So, I mean, I could see where putting Vardy up there could work. But, at Tottenham, Kane doesn't play usually with a second striker unless it's like, Llorente, and he was god-awful this season. So it would be interesting to see both of them play together, though.
Okay, so maybe we'll see that.
Matt?
Yes, Christian, please stop playing with the ball or whatever you're playing with because it's making a sound. And but yeah, Matt always says, if Raheem Sterling could kick a ball, he'd be the best player in the world. So that's our other brother, Matt. Those aren't my words; those are his words. 40th minute. So this is the really well-worked free kick routine where they played it short. They clipped it in. Hendo clipped it back post to Kane, and Kane headed it back across the goal. Sterling had his shot saved a couple yards out, and then Stones cleans it up. For you guys, I want to ask you, Will, was this a waste of a really good set piece? Because now they're not going to reuse this probably in the World Cup. Should they have not used this at that time? What do you make of that?
I think it's a tough question, but if you think about it in that regard, I think you'd be better served saving this for, say, the knockout round, because, again, you've already got a 2-0 lead on Panama. They're offering nothing going forward, and they're not defending or organized at all. So, yeah, I would say to that point, yeah, you would be better served saving that for the knockout rounds when you face the really good competition.
Christian?
I don't really have a problem with it. I think that you come into a World Cup with plenty of different types of set pieces, and you're not going to be able to use them all anyway. And yeah, this one worked out, but it's because the ball was played perfectly. And you could use this again, technically, because if everything works out again, it could open up again.
All right, so it's not a big deal for you. 44th minute, the second penalty came about. This was on a corner kick. Panama, just 3 or 4 Panama players just absolutely tackling England players. I don't know what they could have possibly been complaining about. I think they complained a little bit, but I don't think any of us have any issues with the penalty being called. Now, the one point I wanted to raise, and shout out DJ Dirty Jers on Twitter, brought this up. So Kane hit his second penalty. He took the second penalty. He hit it exactly where he hit the first one. Is there any sort of risk or issue that maybe he's giving away what he prefers, or now, goalkeepers may be able to read him if England goes to penalties in the future, anything like that? Hey, I'm just asking the question. So Will, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a tough one. I actually grew up playing keeper, not at a very high level, mind you, but I don't know. I mean, it's kind of like a 50-50, If you see the guy hit it that way one time, you might think, oh, there's no way he's going to hit it in the same spot the second time. So maybe hitting it there again, throws the keeper off. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think if you walk up there and you're confident you hit the ball and score, that's all that matters. Because you get the guys that are running up there doing the dance and the shuffle, like the guy from Peru, Cuevas. Hit the ball like 20 rows into the stands. If he walks up there and just strikes that ball, like he usually does, maybe he scores. Maybe they beat Denmark, a couple of days ago. I don't know.
So it's not a big deal for you, Christian. Any issues here?
No, not at all. I mean, he hit the ball 78 miles an hour today. So I don't think a goalie's saving that regardless. Both penalties were taken so confidently that I don't think it matters. I think every single penalty is a mind game between the taker and the goalkeeper. That's just how it is every single time. And I don't think this is giving anything away. He could do it, put the ball pretty much anywhere he wants at the moment with his confidence level.
Yeah, and I'm 100% on board. But hey, I wanted to raise the question to see if you guys felt differently.
Stupid question, Dave.
Yeah, 62nd minute. Hey, it's not. Don't blame the question. 62nd minute. There was a great ball from Harry Maguire. I know we were giving him a little bit of flack last England match. Matt and I specifically were, but he played an absolutely fantastic ball into Loftus-Cheek, who took the shot, and Harry Kane just absolutely, did exactly what he was trying to do, and it deflected off his heel for his hat trick goal. Again, that came in the 62nd minute to make it 6-0. Excuse me. Will, your thoughts on that particular goal?
What a goal. I mean, I guess, Harry Kane, he scores when he wants, or even when he doesn't mean to, or whatever. But to your point on Maguire, I wonder if going forward, if he's going to be good enough in the back when England start playing the Belgiums and the other teams like that, because I don't know how comfortable he is playing the ball out of the back. I watched him a couple of times. They give the ball away and stuff like that. So he had a pretty good game today, but I wonder going forward if he's the right guy for that spot.
Christian?
Yeah, today he passed the ball straight to a Panama defender at midfield, I remember, and I was just like, ooh. He did that a couple of times in the last game too, so I don't know. I think Gary Cahill's not really a ball-playing center back either, though, so I don't know who you put in to replace him unless they go four at the back. That's the only way that I could see them changing up, having him as a starter. But yeah, it's going to be a real test against Belgium. I think both Belgium and England, they play the same teams. Both of them have the same goals for, same goals against, same points. It's kind of ridiculous coming into this game. I still think Belgium are a better team, but for some reason, I just have a feeling England are going to win that game. I don't know why. I just have that feeling. And neither one have really, truly been tested yet. So I'm not jumping on board with either of them yet.
All right. Okay. So last thing I wanted to, so I picked actually England to win that before it started too. So I have England coming out first in this group and Belgium second. 78th minute, Panama gets their first ever World Cup goal. I just want to give them a quick mention. They celebrated like they had won the World Cup, which is like somewhat understandable. I mean, they're just there to enjoy it. This is what I said before the tournament began for them. And so props to them. I think it came from a dive by Cooper. I don't think it was a foul, but whatever. They got a free kick and Avila struck it in, and Beloy, center back, sliding, half volley finish. You got to give them props for that. So I wanted to just at least mention that. So props to them for making it 6-1 and not getting shut out. The last thing I wanted to talk about here is that so much of American soccer Twitter was trying to make this game about how the U.S. men's national team didn't qualify for the World Cup. And so they were saying that this Panama team made it and the U.S. didn't, or the U.S. would have lost to this England team by even more, or some points like that. So Will, I wanted to just bring this up because I have a lot of thoughts on it, but I want to get your guys' thoughts first. So Will, do you have any thoughts on? And did you see it on Twitter? Did you have any comments about it?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of it on Twitter, but I mean, I think that's like beating a dead horse. Like the U.S. didn't qualify for the World Cup. I mean, I think everyone's been over why we didn't, qualify for the World Cup and all that. So, I mean, I don't really think, making that link in this match was probably even worth. But I did see a lot of it on Twitter. People saying, "Oh, I can't believe the U.S. couldn't go over this team." But I don't really think it's a big factor.
Christian, comments?
Yeah, I was at the bar with a couple of people. Yes, I was at the bar at 8 a.m. But we were kind of having that same conversation. I didn't see it on Twitter, other than what we were being tagged in our Twitter feed. But yeah, we were having that same conversation. I can't believe that Panama is there, the United States aren't. But we didn't qualify, so we kind of need to get over it and not mention it anymore. That's what happened. And yes, Panama are terrible. This would not have happened to the U.S. They don't ever get blown out like that. But we didn't make it, so.
Unless they play Costa Rica, but let's leave that to the side. For me, this is just trying to do things when team X beats team Y. So if we play team X and we lose to them, we would have lost to team Y, or something like that. It's just, you're comparing apples and oranges. And also World Cup qualifying is very different than playing at the World Cup. World Cup qualifying, you have players coming in from all over the world. You have less than a week usually to get your game plan together. With the World Cup, it's pristine conditions. Everybody's there. You get adjusted to the time zones. You have a 3-week training camp. And it's just for me, it's just the U.S. didn't get there. The U.S. was not good in qualifying. Panama was better. Panama was terrible at the World Cup. But this has nothing to do with the U.S. men's national team. So I just wanted to just bring that point up and just sort of quash it. Last thing before we move on. Go ahead, Christian.
That's like saying Liverpool beat City this year, so Liverpool won the title.
Exactly. It's just silly from my perspective. Yeah. Last thing I wanted to bring up, JS, our friend from Football and the City, brought up Eric Dyer as a potential Harry Maguire replacement in the back. So, Will, any thoughts there?
I was actually going to bring that up too. He's played a little bit there at Spurs, and it's funny because Pochettino actually sees him as a center back going forward. Now I don't know what Dyer feels about that, but he's definitely a ball. He can definitely play the ball. So, I mean, I guess that's probably at the Southgate. But, I mean, if you're going to do that, I think you have to do that for the Belgium match and get ready for the round of 16 match. But, yeah, I think he could jump in there. But, again, that just depends on Southgate.
Christian, thoughts on Dyer?
Yeah, I mean, that's a similar situation to what Mascherano did at Barcelona. So I don't know. I think Dyer has a little bit more experience right now than Mascherano did. But I still see Dyer as a center mid. So I don't know. In a 3-man at the back set with a center mid and a right back playing there, I don't know how comfortable I am. But it's worth a shot in a game that you already know you're through.
That's a good point. So we'll look to see if there's wholesale changes from both England and Belgium, because I think definitely Belgium has already said they might be tinkering with the lineup, and I would expect England to tinker as well. Let's talk about Japan versus Senegal. Now that match finished 2-2. Christian, what were your thoughts on the match?
2-2. It was really actually surprising how physical it was. I don't really picture Japan as a physical team, but they were fouling a lot. And it was a very fun game to watch. I thought there were a lot of chances created, and I was really pulling for Senegal, and I was sad to see them concede that second goal. But this last round is crazy in that group now.
Yeah, I'd agree with it. Also, was Japan? I didn't think Japan was particularly physical. I thought Japan was getting fouled more often from Senegal. I thought Senegal was being a little bit more physical, but I feel
have like that. They were like the Conte thing where they're smaller, so it doesn't look like they're hitting as hard, but they were.
Okay, all right, that's good thoughts. Will, your thoughts from the match?
I thought it was a match of wasted opportunities for Japan. They had a lot of scoring opportunities throughout the match. They maybe even could have taken the lead. At some point, I think one of the stats was that Japan has never come back to win a World Cup game, and they've been in a game that they've been trailing. They've never come back to win one in the World Cup. But I thought it was a very entertaining game. But yeah, Japan, I think they could have taken all 3 points, but so could Senegal. I mean, calamitous error on the Senegal goalkeeper on, I think it was the second goal, the equalizer, where he came out to punch the ball and just absolutely, missed altogether. I think they crossed it back to Honda and he finished it. But yeah.
Yep. And honestly, you could argue the Japan keeper made a terrible error on the first goal, and that's what I wanted to bring up. So I thought Japan actually looked pretty good to start, and they were I thought Japan was the better side on the whole of the match, but particularly to start. And then Senegal started to get a little bit of momentum, and then in the 12th minute, that's where Senegal's goal came from. There was a cross. There wasn't too much danger, and the Japan right back, I didn't write down his name, but he decided to flick it behind his head rather than hitting it out for a corner where he knew there was no danger. And so he ended up flicking it right to a Senegal player who hit a shot in kind of right at the keeper. And Mane was crashing, but the Japan keeper elected to punch the ball rather than catch it. And so he punched it and right into an onrushing Mane and bounced off Mane, ended up going into the goal. Christian, you have any thoughts on that particular goal?
Yeah, it's a goalkeeping error. You can't do that. I don't know. Maybe you're not supposed to catch that ball. Maybe it was too hard. He couldn't catch it. But to punch it at an onrushing player is obviously not the right decision either.
But the Japan right back, I think, shouldn't be let off the hook on this play either, because I think a lot of people are focusing on the goalkeeper. Again, the right back really needs to do better there as well.
But if they're not talking to the right back, I think it's a communication breakdown, because maybe he didn't hear anyone say, clear the ball.
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know that answer. Will, any thoughts on this goal?
I think it's kind of what Christian said. The big issue, and you alluded to it earlier, is these are all national teams. They only get a couple of weeks together, so the communication probably wasn't there from the keeper to the back. But I would think of it from a defending standpoint. If you're not sure what the keeper wants you to do, the worst you can do is put that, just put it out of play and live for the corner. Yep. I mean.
Yeah, we had a saying growing up, when in doubt, kick it out, right? Yep. So that was, that's what we said growing up. So if you're on defense, you can't take that risk there, especially at the World Cup. One thing I did want to note, we kind of talked about it earlier, Christian, you mentioned Senegal was just so much physically bigger than Japan. And that was just something that, I noted. But again, I thought Japan had the better part of play throughout the entire game. I thought that they were flopping a bit much early. That subsided as the match wore on. But I think that their game plan was to try to earn free kicks and see if they could work a routine from that. And, I just noted that they were flopping a bit. 34th minute is when Japan got their first goal. It was a long ball to Nagamoto, who he took a touch. It was a long ball over the top, and he took a touch with his left foot. I don't know how much he meant to cut inside on that particular play, and it ended up really working out because the two Senegal defenders overran him, and he was able to cut back. Inouye, I think is how I'm going to pronounce that. He's the one who collected the ball off of Nagatomo, and slotted into the far post. I'm trying to get these names right. I don't just want to say player X. I'm trying to get their names in there. But I thought Inouye was the best player for Japan. Christian, what did you make of this particular goal? Did we lose Christian?
Nope,
he's here.
No.
We just lost your face. Okay. Sorry, you threw me off there.
Yeah, my phone is dying, so it told me I can't use my camera anymore.
Okay.
So the touch, I agree with you. I don't think that he was intending to do that touch to pull it back on the initial ball. But that finish is pretty classy, actually. I was really surprised with the quality that he had to put that in the far post. And honestly, I didn't really see a gap when he collected the ball. But to put the ball where he did, there's no goalkeeper who's going to save that. That was pretty much in the far corner on the ground.
Will, thoughts on the goal?
Pretty much just echo what you guys said. It was a great finish by Inouye. I mean, I do think he was probably one of the best players on the field for Japan, and he was probably unlucky to not get another goal a little bit later too. But yeah, fantastic finish from him.
Yep, and I thought Japan had success playing the short balls and then hitting long diagonals. So we talked about that yesterday with Germany, how they were having success hitting long diagonals from Boateng out to the left wing. And Japan was having similar success, just creating space and breaking through Senegal's lines by doing that. So I thought that was a clear directive from them. And as the game went on, I thought Senegal was getting more and more sloppy, more and more careless with their passes. And, ultimately I thought Japan likely deserved to win this game, but you don't get what you deserve. You get what you earn. Right. And so the second goal for Senegal came in. It was a chip by Mane into Sabali, who was the left back who played it across the ground. Nyang gets a little touch on it. And then Wago, who was the outside back, came in crashing late and just blasted it into the net. Will, any thoughts on this goal?
What a turn by Sabali. That was excellent turn. And what a finish. I think the Wagyu is 19 years old, so that's a really amazing finish from a kid basically playing his first World Cup. But yeah, that's all I've got on that.
All right, Christian, any thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, I agree. I think that turn is absolute class to be able to spin the Japan defender and play the ball the way that he did. I think the striker deserves a lot of credit too for the touch that he put on it that rolled it straight across the six. I know he probably wasn't meaning to, but the fact that he got that opened up that opportunity.
Yes,
and
he definitely wasn't meaning to. Just for clarity purposes.
Yeah. Okay, fine. But that kid coming in at the far post to put the ball in with that emphasis was really, really impressive, and I wouldn't be surprised if a team in Europe is like really, really like one of the bigger sides is looking at him now.
Do you know where he plays?
I do not.
Okay.
But he's the youngest African scorer in a World Cup match. So there's that. And that's all I got on that.
All right. And then 78th minute, Japan equalizes. Again, we'll touch on it earlier, but cross came in and the Senegal keeper just absolutely missed the ball. So the cross came in from Osako, who was the center forward, and Senegal keeper just absolutely missed the ball, cleaned out a Japanese player. I think you could possibly argue that it should have been a foul there, but play went on, ball got crossed back by Inouye, again, who had a fantastic game and was tapped in at the far post by Honda. Will, anything else from on that particular play or anything else from this match you wanted to highlight?
Not really. It's amazing that two of those goals came directly from errors on the back. But I guess that's what you get in the World Cup. Like we said, without a lot of time to work together as a squad.
Okay, Christian, anything else to add?
Yeah, I just wanted to say the Japan shot. I think it was still 1-1 at the time where they hit the bar. I think it was Inouye also. He was really all over the place. That was a fantastic take, and really unfortunate that one didn't find that far corner.
Agreed. Real quick, just to put a bow on it, Eupen is where Wagyu plays in Belgium. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it's EUPN. So I wouldn't be surprised if somebody comes in and buys him, like Christian said. Last match of the day was Poland versus Colombia, just finished. Colombia absolutely just spanked them. I expected this game to be a lot closer, but ended up finishing 3-0. Will, what were your thoughts on the game?
You know, I hate to talk about the officiating, but the referee to not give out a yellow card until the 60th minute was unreal. You know, Lewandowski I think he stepped on Mina early, and you could argue that could have been a sending off. It's a very, very physical game, but I was really impressed with Mina. You know, I think they said he'd only made 5 appearances for Barcelona all year, and to play that way against Lewandowski and Poland was amazing.
Christian,
from that standpoint.
Oh, sorry, Christian, your thoughts on the match?
Yeah, it was a bit surprising for me. I really expected the game to be close, but about 10 or 15 minutes into that game, I already knew Colombia was just the better team. Poland doesn't look like they had any pace to trouble Colombia. They weren't really creating much. Lewandowski is a player who needs creative players to get him the ball in those one-touch situations. That's where he is the best striker in the world. And they just aren't able to do that with Poland. And Colombia just suffocated them, forced them to play centrally so they couldn't get those crosses in. And it was just a really good game plan from Colombia, and they were clearly just the more talented squad.
Agreed, and that's why I'm almost a little bit sad of everything that happened between them and Japan in the first game, because I think Colombia, if they kept full numbers, may have gotten a result or win out of that game, and we may have had Colombia and Senegal coming out of this group, which I would have been super excited about. But now it's probably going to be Japan and either South Korea, or no, and either Colombia or Senegal. I knew it was an S. That it threw me off there. So, but this match, I thought both teams kind of started desperately, like in a good way. They were flying into tackles, and you could see the energy there from both sets of players. But then Poland sort of fell off, and Colombia kept that energy up throughout the game. And again, it just, Poland just didn't look like they had much going forward. When Poland did get forward, I thought that they were a little bit more cohesive in how they got forward. They didn't send a ton of numbers forward, but they all kind of moved together. Whereas Colombia, what kept happening is Falcao was almost on an island, or they only had one guy out there. And then eventually everybody else would catch up. And, ultimately it ended up working for them, but that was just something interesting I saw throughout the match. Did anybody know what happened to Aguilar? I know he came out, but Fox didn't show any replays. Will, did you see what happened?
I don't know. I think he was grabbing his leg or something, but I like you said, you didn't really see any replays, and so I don't know. I thought they would at least he'd try to go again before they just took him off immediately like that. So yeah, I have no idea what happened to him.
Christian, did you see anything or read anything?
I have not seen anything about that, so I really have no idea.
Ultimately, didn't impact the game, but I just wanted to note it, and it could have had an impact. But again,
and what about Ospina? He felt like he was injured the whole game. He kept going down a lot.
I think it was somewhat legit. Like, he was getting knocks, and I think it just kept accumulating, and it seemed to be on that right leg. It seemed, how when you get hit and then you get hit there again, it hurts, and so ultimately he was able to push through. But I don't know if there's going to be any ramifications of that. Colombia's goal came in the 40th minute. Again, it was a well-worked short corner. I know a lot of people rag on short corners. You bring up the center backs, you just want to get it in there. But on this particular one, they did a fantastic job. So James played it short to Cuadrado and then sort of did like a slow sort of cut in. And Cuadrado played it a little bit further along the 18 to Quintero. And Quintero, I thought, had a fantastic match. And he was really adept at hitting those across his body, sort of blind through balls back across his body. And he hit a perfect one there to James, who just had a delicate chip to Mina for the header there. So I wanted to recap that goal. Will, any thoughts on the goal?
Beautiful goal, like you said. And that's really the only time they really have any height advantage for Colombia is when they're on a set piece like that, because the Poland center backs just tower over the Colombian guys. But yeah, great play all together, and a nice finish by Mina. Again, for a guy that hasn't hardly played this year at all, for Barcelona.
Agreed. And I actually had written down right before this goal that the Poland center backs were doing very well at dealing with all of the crosses. And then, then the center backs came up. They finally had a little bit of height and athleticism. And then, they were able to get that result. Christian, any thoughts on this goal?
Yeah, I was really impressed with Mina as well. I thought in the entire what?
Why are you sitting like that? Why you're just looking off? Like where are you right now?
I am in the living room now because the dogs kept barking, so I had to stop. And my charger was up here, and I didn't want to walk all the way back downstairs. Okay. All right, fine.
No,
I will hold it.
I just need you. There we go. That's at least a little better. Okay. Continue.
Okay. So I was impressed with Mina for the entire game, and I'm glad he got a goal there. But yeah, for Barcelona, I've not been impressed with him all year long. Even the few appearances he had, but I mean, it's unfair to have someone thrown into that team and like not have the cohesion that you expect with the Barcelona players. So I think it'll come with time. Today, he looked really, really solid. I really don't think he was troubled much at all with Lewandowski or any of the Poland attackers, but on the actual goal, he rose really high. He got really up there, and it's a really fantastic header and great ball from James. Just everything seemed to work out perfectly in that goal.
Agreed. 58th minute is really Poland's only chance of the game. It came from a really long ball out of the back, and Lewandowski got in behind. He took a great first touch, and Ospina came out really well to just smother it, cut down the angles, and make a save. Beyond that, Poland really didn't have any chances, and that was still 1-0. And if they could have gotten back 1-1, you don't know what would have happened in the game. But again, nothing really happened. And then the 70th minute, that's when Colombia gets their second goal. There was a long clearance. I think it was either a punt or a goal kick. And Colombia won the second ball, which was kind of a theme of the day. They just seemed to have more energy. And Quintero played it out wide. Or no, he played a slip ball to Falcao. Eventually, the ball got to Quintero in the middle. And again, I thought Quintero played absolutely fantastic. Falcao made a fantastic run in between the center backs and kept onside, took a fantastic first touch, and finished with the outside of his boot. Christian, your thoughts on the goal?
Yeah, it was perfectly timed. The ball was absolutely amazing from Quintero. That could not have been any better. His first touch is fantastic, and that is a striker's finish. That's the Falcao we remember from 5 years ago that was able to score goals from any type of situation. And that I really never had a doubt as soon as he collected that ball was going to end up in the bottom corner. And it's tough on Szczesny because, I mean, there's not much you can do in that situation.
Will, thoughts on the goal?
Like you guys have said, great build up to the goal, great finish. But, Falcao, what a game he had today. He was running all over the field. I would love to see I don't think they showed us the distance that he covered, but I mean, he was, he definitely played a fantastic match. And it's nice to see him succeed where, last World Cup he missed out due to the knee injury and all that. So that's kind of neat to see.
Absolutely. It was good to see him get a goal. And, I thought James, Quintero, and Falcao were all awesome today. And really, all of Colombia, I think, played pretty well. I don't think anyone really had a particularly poor game. 75th minute, they get their third goal. James dribbles up the sideline, attracts 3 Polish defenders, and then just plays an absolutely perfect through ball onto Cuadrado, who finishes on a breakaway. Will, anything to add either on that goal or from this game?
Yeah, that goal, again, just another great finish. And, I mean, you could tell Poland was done after the second goal, but I thought it was really impressive from a Spurs standpoint. I was watching Wilmer Barrios, however you say his name, because we've been linked to him. And I thought for a young player, he plays in Argentina, he had a pretty good game. He was a little shaky early on, but I was really impressed by him being able to step up in that kind of moment and have a good game for Colombia. And Cuadrado, awesome throughout the whole game. Yeah.
Christian, thoughts on the goal and or anything else from this match?
The goal was sensational by James. He did a little hip swerve to get away from the first guy, then carried the ball forward, waited for the pressure to come, plays that perfect pass into the stride of Cuadrado. That curled pass that is such a difficult technique and pass to really pull off. And I was so impressed with James pretty much for the entirety of the game. He was really not losing the ball at all and brought out the party tricks as soon as they went up 1-0. But their big players were just really up for it today, and the big players perform when they need to. And it was really fun to watch Colombia today. And finally, I just want to go back to the running by Falcao. The runs he made as a striker today are going to be undervalued, and people don't really understand. What he did today was open up so much space for his teammates, and he got a goal from it. Like that goal for his second goal, that is such a perfect, like, across the line run to going forward. He just knows where to be. He reminds me of Torres back in his prime. That is exactly what he used to do.
And they both used to play at Atletico, right?
Yep.
Yeah, maybe they learned from each other. So we kind of talked about it yesterday with Wabi Khazri. He was a single forward up against 3 center backs, and he did a great job. So again, Falcao sort of had a similar thing. His team ended up winning, but again, just fantastic forward play from those guys. Now let's talk about the matches for tomorrow, if you guys are good with it. So first up is Saudi Arabia versus Egypt. Both have already been eliminated, so we can probably breeze over that pretty quickly. Then Uruguay versus Russia, Iran versus Portugal, and Spain versus Morocco. Will, do you want to give your thoughts on those 4 matches quickly?
Sure. I guess I'll start with the Saudi Arabia-Egypt match. Again, nothing to play for either squad, but I would love to see, Egypt go out and have, just a good match, maybe score 4 or 5 goals on them, see Salah, enjoy himself and all that. But yeah, I think Egypt wipes the floor with them. And then you go through all 4 of them?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. The Uruguay-Russia game, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I think Russia's going to win the group, which is crazy. I can't, the 5-0 win over Saudi Arabia, I thought, not much of that, but, I think they'll pull it out against Uruguay, because Uruguay just barely got past Saudi Arabia 1-0. So I think they win that one. The Spain-Morocco game, that will probably be the most entertaining game of the day. It's a shame to see Morocco go home. I would love to just see Morocco and Peru play. Let's just give them a consolation match and just let them go at it, because they both love to attack.
I agree with that.
I think Spain probably wins the match, maybe 4-2, 3-2, something like that. And the kid from Morocco, I think it's Zitek.
Yeah,
he plays for Ziyech, plays for Ajax. I think we'll see him move on to a bigger club after this World Cup. And so hopefully he has a good game. And then Iran, Portugal, CR7. That's all I have to say about that one. They're going to roll.
All right, Christian, your thoughts on tomorrow's matches?
Yeah, that first game, who cares? I really don't think it's going to be a good match. I think Egypt will wipe the floor with them as well. I think Salah's going to have a good game. But Saudi Arabia just looked like a mess. Them and Panama are the 2 whipping boys of this tournament.
Well, I just want to jump in. I mean, is that slightly unfair? I thought they looked fine against Uruguay. Like, they looked terrible against Russia. I'm not going to deny that.
I just don't think that they have the quality to actually trouble any team. Okay. Like, they didn't look like they were going to break, but I don't think they looked dangerous ever really against Uruguay.
Okay. Is that the dogs playing with the toy?
Oh my God.
That's all right.
They just want all the attention. All right.
I know, clearly.
Spain versus Morocco. I agree that's going to be the most entertaining game of the day. I think Spain are going to win that, but I think it's going to be a lot different than what our friend thinks over there. I think it's going to be like a 1-0 win. That just seems to be Spain's way in World Cups. Other than that 3-3 game, they rarely give up goals, and I feel like they never score goals either. So I think it's going to be low scoring, but it's going to be a lot of creating. So that's just my guess on that one. And I think that, oh man, that last game is the biggest game of the day, which is going to be really fun to watch. And Iran is very difficult to break down, as we saw against Spain. And if they get really, he did not like me saying Iran is good.
Yeah,
he did not like that.
Okay.
And I just think Portugal do end up getting through. Oh my God.
Okay, so Portugal gets through, where he's going to go on mute, and then we'll get his thoughts on Uruguay versus Russia because he skipped over that once the dogs stopped barking. But so my thoughts real quick on the matches: Saudi Arabia versus Egypt. I mean, you guys already touched on it. I think Egypt, honestly, I could see this being like 1-1 or 0-0. I don't think Saudi Arabia is as bad as I initially thought, and if this ends up, if there is scoring in this match, I expect it to be low, or I expect it to just be like crazy, like what the hell, we're already eliminated, everybody go forward, and it's just like ridiculously high scoring. So I could see it going either of those ways. I give the slight edge to Egypt, but it's not as big as, I think you guys have said. Uruguay versus Russia, I'm going to go Uruguay, but again, I think that it's going to be tight. Uruguay just seems to play defensive, and no matter who they're coming up against, it's going to be like a 1-0 or a 2-1, just very low scoring. So again, I think that might be like a 1-0 victory for Uruguay. Iran versus Portugal, both are pretty defensive. But I give the edge to Portugal there. Again, I think it's going to be low scoring. CR7, maybe pulls through. It's a 1-0 victory or 2-1, but I see them getting through. In Spain versus Morocco, I think Christian was spot on. I don't expect Morocco to score as good as they look offensively. When they get into the final third, they just sort of collapse and don't know what to do. So again, I think maybe that's a 2-0 victory. I don't think it's 1-0, but I think it's 2-0. Christian, do you want to, I think the dogs have stopped barking. Do you want to recap Uruguay versus Russia?
Yes, I think very similar to you there. I think that Uruguay will see it through. I think they have more talent, and it'll be like a 1-0 game. Godin is just so good at the back. He's such a good center back. He reads the game well. And I really am not sold on Russia. They played against two teams that really look a mess against them. And they had the crazy crowd, but they haven't come up against a quality team who can combat the atmosphere, which I think they're going to see for the first time. And then back to I just want to give my final prediction on that Iran-Portugal game. I think it's going to end up as a draw. I really do. I think it's going to be 0-0. But is that Portugal going through at that point?
So the first tiebreaker is goal difference, and I don't know where they stand on that. But then second is goals scored.
Yeah,
again, I don't know.
Portugal would have more.
Okay, so then
it would 3-3 game.
Oh, very true. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I can see that. Again, I think it's going to be low scoring, so it'd be nervy, but I can see that being the case. So that's a really good point. Will, anything else you wanted to mention before we get out of here?
I was going to ask both of you, since you guys are big Liverpool supporters as well, would you, with the third game, England's third game being against Belgium, and they already having it locked up, would you look at, or as far as having it locked up going to the round of 16, would you think about putting Trent Alexander-Arnold in there over Trippier? I mean, I know Trippier has been amazing, but do you give him a breather? Because I don't know if you guys noticed, Trippier, they wrapped his thigh when he came off, and I don't know if they do that every match, but they wrapped only his right thigh above his knee. So would you guys give, would you put Trent Alexander-Arnold in there over him in the last match?
I'll get Christian's thoughts real quick. I'm sure he's going to say yes, but I'll get his thoughts real quick. But with the wrapping, I mean, oftentimes players, might take a knock. I didn't hear much about it. And so a lot of times you'll just see guys get ice. So I haven't heard anything about it. My thought would be maybe he just took a knock and they're just, they have to recover quickly because of the World Cup. I mean, the matches come so quick, so they always take extra precaution there. So that would be my guess. Christian, your thoughts?
I was really surprised they didn't put him in today. I was shocked they put Rose on, just because it was a game that was meaningless at that point, and they were already up by so many goals. I would be shocked to see him start in the next game as well. I think they should, but they won't.
Okay, so you think they should start Trent Alexander-Arnold, but you don't think they will?
Yes.
Okay. I think they will. Southgate has shown that he is a little bit more flexible than managers in the past, and I mean, I think that they're coming out to do well at this tournament, and getting players rest when you can would be a great opportunity for them. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, he does start. Will. All right.
Okay.
Anything else?
Sounds good. And then one other thing, Henderson, I think he's played really well in the midfield. For England, do you guys, in that same logic, do you give him a rest and put someone like Dyer in there, or do you just keep him in there and keep playing?
Christian?
Well, you can't put Dyer in there if we're putting him in for Maguire, so I don't know.
True.
But
True.
I don't know. He has been an injury liability for the last couple of years just because he has that heel issue. So maybe you should rest him.
I personally think not. I think he's such a good leader on the field for them, and I think it would be a good experience if you're going to have a lot of turnover in the team and in the lineup. If you're going to be making a lot of changes, you still want some sort of consistency, and you don't want to break up all this momentum. England has a ton of momentum right now, and by making wholesale changes and breaking all that up, and say they lose to Belgium going into the round of 16 isn't necessarily a great look. So I think Southgate needs to be careful on what changes he does make. I think he'll make maybe three to four max. I don't think he should make like 7 or 8 changes to rest players. So that's what I would like to see. So again, I think he might be the one to stay. Christian, any other thoughts here?
I would think Butland comes in as well, just to give another goalkeeper some time in that.
You think? I actually would disagree with that one. Pickford only has less than 10 caps. I think as much experience as you can give him, give it to him, because taking him out, again, in somewhat of a less pressure-filled situation at the World Cup, I think is perfect to leave Pickford in there. I don't know. Will, what's your take on that one?
I would leave him in there just because, like you said, the first 2 matches they haven't really played anybody, and he's actually going to, see some action in this one. So, I mean, I would leave Pickford in there. I mean, I could understand the rotation, I guess, but if I was managing, I would leave him in there because, like you said, his lack of experience, and he's going to get some great experience against Belgium because they're going to be flying all over the place.
Good point, Christian. Any other thoughts?
Nope.
Okay, you still think Butland?
No, I didn't think Butland was actually going to go in, but I was just wondering, do you think he would?
Okay. All right. Fair enough. So anyone watching on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. Podcast listeners, thank you for tuning in as well. If you want to listen to the podcast, we have that linked in our video description. If you want to check out our videos, we have that linked in the podcast description. So please go check that out. We're also live tweeting everything as the World Cup happens. So follow us on Twitter at BT Soccer Pod. Christian and I are the main ones on there. So we got all kinds of fun GIFs and commentary and all of that. So definitely go check us out. And also be sure to check out Tottenham Hotspur World. We have that linked in the video description in the podcast show notes, and go give Will a follow. Definitely go read that blog. If you want to get in contact with us, our email is bros.talking.soccer@gmail.com, and our website is brostalkingsoccerpodcast.com. You can read about us, check out past episodes, and so much more. Will, thank you so much for being here. Anything else you want to add?
I just want to thank you guys for having me on. It's been a lot of fun. Keep doing what you do.
Thank you so much. We appreciate having you here. Christian, anything else you would like to add?
No, I think I'm good to go.
All right, cool. Listeners, thank you so much for being here. If you like what we're doing, feel free to rate us. That would be awesome on your podcasting platform of choice. And we will talk to you all tomorrow. See you, everybody. Bye.